For centuries, the evidence of widespread prostitution in the doomed city of Pompeii was suppressed. Today, historians are putting together the pieces of how, where, and why it took place. At the heart of the mystery is the Lupanare Grande, the biggest brothel in town. 79 AD, the Lupanara opens for business, as it does every day, 9 hours after sunup, which is why the prostitutes here are called the nonarii, the ninth-hour girls. Like prostitutes through the ages, they perform under assumed names. We know some of them from the carvings in the Lupanara's stone walls. They are called Calidrome, Casa, Fabia, Fortunata, Nika, Januaria, and Myrtis, who specializes in oral sex. There are also male prostitutes known as Luperci. At the Lupanara, one goes by the name Maritimus. Graffiti here claims his specialties include servicing virgins. Some of the Luperci are gladiators turning tricks on the side. Gladiators are low on the social totem pole, but they are the sports stars of their day. And there are many accounts of elite Roman women taking them as paid lovers. There are also accounts of aristocratic women servicing clients for kicks, a dangerous pastime that can result in scandal, banishment, or even death if they are married. But most brothel prostitutes are slaves, taken from conquered lands stretching from Europe to North Africa and Asia. They are forced to do whatever their masters command.
I think all we can say confidently about the prostitutes is that they will have been slaves. Naturally, their lives will have been really pretty squalid, as the life of any prostitute is likely to be. We can only use our imaginations, really, and we can only say that the sort of stories of misery that characterize the Eastern European immigrants who are effectively slave prostitutes in Western Europe at this time will have been not dissimilar to the stories of antiquity.
Slaves are brought in from the far corners of the empire. The ones forced into prostitution trade on their exoticism. Many women dye their hair blonde or red and wear silks to accentuate their attributes. As the cult of Christ grows, Christian women are also interned into brothels as a degrading form of punishment. But some prostitutes are free women, turning tricks out of desperation. They are motivated by the same factors that lure men and women into prostitution today. This is one of the few high-paying careers available for the lower classes. Even a low-priced prostitute earns 3 times the wages of an unskilled male laborer. Then as now, the rate depends on age, skill, and desirability. At the low end, they charge 2 copper coins, the price of a loaf of bread. These women need many customers to make a profit. A high-end prostitute sees 1 or 2 clients a day and charges premium rates, up to 10 times as much. The male prostitute, at his best, earns a fraction of a woman's price. While their individual stories differ, collectively, these men and women fuel a powerful economic machine.
Sex in the brothel here and elsewhere in Pompeii was relatively cheap, but it was a cash-rich business which could bring in a lot of income for, if not the prostitutes themselves, their exploiters.
And who are these exploiters? The most obvious is the leno, the pimp who runs the brothel with an iron hand. The leno recruits the staff, sets the prices, enforces discipline, handles rent payments, and, when necessary, bribes the police. But usually the leno doesn't own the brothel. Often he is a freed man, doing the bidding of others who hide in the shadows. The true owners are members of the upper classes, including well-born noblemen. They are motivated purely by profit. Most landowners have their money in agriculture, which at best yields a 6% return every year. Prostitution is a cash-only business with a higher profit margin. especially if you have slaves doing the work. But although profitable, it is not considered entirely respectable, so the owners keep a bit of distance from the business, even if sometimes that distance is only a few feet. A close look at the ruins reveals the kinds of people who were secretly behind this sex trade. The clues start with a carving in a road.
So here, rather unusually, we find a phallus actually carved into the basalt of the street pavers. And this phallus is the delight of every tourist who passes here. And the story they all tell is that it's a pointer to a brothel, and that the brothel is 2 streets down on the left. Now, this is a crazy story, but how on earth can you tell that you're meant to go 2 streets down to get the brothel? It must refer to this house itself. One possibility is it's no more than a good luck sign. Phalluses were good luck signs. But the other possibility is that it indicates prostitution going on inside the house. To find out, let's go in. Okay, this house has got a respectable side and a less respectable side. Here we're in the atrium area. We've come in off the main road, and that's the big street, the Via dell'Abbondanza. We've got the impluvium, a big space, typical of a grand Roman house, surrounded by bedrooms here. And here are some big reception rooms. And all this is a standard, respectable, really quite grand Roman house. But then tucked around the back is the other, seamy side of their activity. If we go through this little narrow passageway, we're back into the servants' quarters, let's say, of the house. This is probably the kitchen. And back through, we're going through quite a narrow doorway here, and here we meet the prostitute cells, and we discover a bit about how the owner of the house makes his money. 1, 2, there, and then through the wall there is the third one. Here you've got a little entrance from the street, some stairs going up, so he probably rented out rooms. He may have had other girls working upstairs as well. He could have had half a dozen, quite easily. So, on the sly, this guy is actually running a brothel.
The elite's attitude towards private and public sex was complicated, to say the least. And it begins to explain why there was so much of it going on, and so publicly. For here, sex, whether paid or unpaid, was not just about pleasure. It was also about power. And with sex and power would come outright debauchery.